glad to note that a new journal, the Journal of Higher Education Policy and Leadership Studies, is born about a year ago. And I'm also glad to note that it is coming up very well with the regular issues on a variety of themes contributed by a good number of scholars from all over the world. And it is coming under the editorialship of Professor Iman Turkian. And I have been fortunate to be a contributor to the inaugural issue of this journal. First, let me introduce myself briefly. I'm a distinguished professor in the Council for Social Development, New Delhi, India. I retired as a Vice Chancellor of from a specialized research university known as National University of Education Planning and Administration, where I have been a faculty member for more than 3.5 decades. I'm basically trained in economics, PhD in economics of education. So that's my area of specialization, but I worked on a variety of areas in educational policy and development. Quite a few of them are relating to economics of education, but many of them are beyond the boundaries of strict economics of education. I have quite a few publications, more than 20 books published by reputed journals like Springer, Routledge, Sage, Paul David Macmillan, and quite a few others, and also more than 300 research papers, many of which have been favorably reviewed in professional journals. Recently, I have completed a research study on engineering education in India and the growth of engineering education in India. The study covered a variety of dimensions of engineering education. A few of them are related to economic growth, economics of engineering education. As you know, engineering education is one area which has expanded very, very fast in India in the last 3 decades. Perhaps it's not just in India, but also in many countries, engineering education has expanded fast. In fact, we did a study on the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And we find all the 4 countries, engineering and technology education has expanded at a faster rate of growth than the rest of higher education. One of the papers, based upon a particular theme of engineering education, is the one that I contributed to this to the inaugural issue of the new journal when Professor Turkian invited me to do so. The title, as you know, is How Do Students Fund Their Higher Education in India? A study of loan financing of higher education. As you know, financing is becoming an important issue almost everywhere, with increasingly shrinking public budgets on the one hand, and correspondingly increasing reliance on cost recovery measures, particularly student fees. Yeah, as everyone knows, not only higher education has expanded, but the expansion has been largely in private sector. And that's the case with India also. The private higher education has expanded, private engineering education has expanded exponentially during the last couple of decades. Now, the growth of private higher education, and along with the cost recovery measures, has made engineering education less and less affordable by a large section of students from the disadvantaged sections. So many countries have also launched the student loan programs to mitigate some regressive effects of these cost recovery measures. India also has a loan program for a long period, and recently it was restructured and revitalized in such a way that it becomes increasingly more accessible to a larger section of the society. This is a theme that I covered in this particular paper. Used a profit regression analysis to examine the determinants of student loans. Who gets the loans, what are the characteristics of the students who are getting the loans and who don't get the loans, and how this is helpful to student financing of engineering education. Given this broad theme, I explained in detail some of the important measures relating to the loan financing of education. I'm sure that just not only in India, but also the higher education policy planners in most countries of the world would find it a useful study. And particularly from public policy making, the study provides quite a few important insights. So So public policy in financing of higher education in general, public policy in relating to the fee fixation, public policy relating to the student loan schemes in particular would get reached by the kind of evidence that we have provided. So that the countries would make the student loan programs more and more accessible, widely accessible and less burdensome in general and to the disadvantaged sections of the society in particular. As I said, my study on engineering education covered a few other important dimensions. I have been working in the area of higher education and also school education, of course. So if anybody is interested in either this particular study on engineering education or any other aspects of higher education in India, I would be glad to contact them. And this following is the link. Following is my email address. Thank you very much.